Hallo, ich bin Juliane von imjane.de und ich durfte die amerikanische Autorin Kristin Hannah interviewen. Es hat mir total viel Spaß gemacht und ich freue mich, dass ihr jetzt das Ergebnis sehen könnt. Viel Spaß!
One of the reasons the Great Depression spoke to me and the farmers in general was it also sort of relates to this whole idea of climate change and man's impact on the environment and the idea that we need to be good stewards of the land, because part of the problem in this in the Dust Bowl era and the Dust Bowl area is that over farming and digging up all the grass coincided with this drought and was part of the cause of this great destruction. And so I thought it was a good sort of reminder to say, look, yes, we do impact our environment and we can do it in a better, safer, better management kind of way. The story really comes from the historical arc of the times. I mean, it's all very factually based. And, so when I chose the Great Plains and the Dust Bowl era, that led me to farmers. And the great question for the farmers was stay or go. And, while the weather was killing them and, their crops and all of that, the Great Depression was leaving them with nothing as well. And at that time in America, the farmers in California were doing a lot of advertising saying, come work for us. We've got more, this is the land of milk and honey, come stay. And so, hundreds of thousands of people did move west in search of these jobs, which turned out, not to be quite as wonderful as they had hoped. And to me, that's ultimately what the book is about. It's about essentially this woman, Elsa, who is our protagonist. She comes from a very difficult background. She feels very unloved by her family, unworthy, and has, because of their perception of her, has this perception of herself as unworthy, unlovable, ungainly, awkward, all those things. And so part of her growth and her storyline here is how she learns through life to find her own strength and to find her own value and to find her voice. And the two things that matter most, I think, in that journey for her is her mother-in-law's growing love for her and her acceptance, and then her own motherhood, which, as a new mother, I am not a new mother, I'm an old mother, but it's transformative. I mean, it changes everything about how you look at the world and your place in it, and you feel this responsibility so heavily for your children. And I just think that's such an important topic. And when you're talking about women's history, I think, part and parcel of that is the fact that we are mothers, so many of us, and it's that love for our children and that love for from our mothers that define us. This book was really interesting because it is really Elsa's book. Her daughter Loretta is certainly prominent as well, and their relationship is prominent, but it's Elsa's story really in the end. And the interesting thing about that is I researched the novel for a year and coming up with the story and the characters, and then I wrote it. And I was just finished draft when Elsa appeared as a secondary character. Okay. And I realized very quickly that that she was someone that I was really interested in. And so what I ultimately had to do was throw away the 450 pages that I had written and then begin Elsa's novel. And it's interesting because, I mean, I've written, I think, 25 books or something, and she is my favorite character to date so far. And I think it's because, you know, because like we were talking about earlier, she goes from a woman who is too afraid to even have an opinion or to voice it, to a woman that is so strong and so powerful and so and fighting for justice for, you know, her family and her friends, and powerful enough to use her voice on behalf of people who haven't found their voices yet. And there was something just so powerful about that. And yet she was always, in my opinion, stronger than she thought she was. I think actually, although I didn't sort of see it coming, I think one of the great things about the Four Winds coming out at this moment in history, at this time of difficulty that we're all going through, I really think the message of the Four Winds is a reminder that we have lived through hard times before, all of us across all countries, and that we have resilience and we have strength, and we will come through what we're going through now. We will, you know, thrive again. And then I guess the additional message that kindness matters, and that, you know, there's moments in the Four Winds where people are at their lowest, and strangers do something kind for them. And I think it's a reminder for all of us that you just don't know what people are going through, and that it's really important to care for each other and to be kind.